President Biden has hit the campaign trail in the swing state of Michigan tonight as he continues to try to save his bid for re-election. He suffered another blow last night, making 2 blunders during a press conference at the Nato summit in Washington. Pressure has been building for him to step aside as the Democratic candidate for November's election since a stumbling performance in a TV debate last month. He insists he is fit to run and that the decision rests with voters rather than party leaders in Washington. Our North America editor Sarah Smith has been speaking to some of those voters and sent us this report from Michigan.
And now I want to hand it over to the president of Ukraine, who has as much courage as he has determination. Ladies and gentlemen, President Putin.
Ouch, that was bad. And there was more to come, at a time when the president's future was on the line.
I wouldn't have picked Vice President Trump to be vice president, but I think she was not qualified to be president. So let's start there.
This make-or-break press conference was a chance to show he could think on his feet and demonstrate his grasp of foreign affairs. As he insisted he will not step aside, he was asked if there was anything his team could tell him to make him pull out.
No, unless they came back and said, there's no way you can win. Me. No one's saying that. No poll says that.
Actually, most polls say the race is very close, with Donald Trump ahead. President Biden's just left the stage, and he's probably pretty happy with how that went, but he was being asked again and again about his fitness for office, if he's up to the job. I mean, how long can he carry on with this campaign while those questions are still out there? Lansing in Michigan, a must-win state for Joe Biden that is currently too close to call.
Is it possible? Of course.
All of these auto workers and union members are Democrat voters. And who thinks Biden should step down as a candidate? Ooh, 4-2. And so they had all seen Joe Biden's gaffes at the Nato conference.
The honest feeling was fear. It's just terrifying that it's falling apart right now, in my opinion.
The Democratic campaign, Joe Biden's campaign, is falling apart.
Biden is falling apart, in my opinion.
I think Joe Biden can still do it. And
yeah?
Yep, I sure do.
You worried, though?
A little, like everyone is, but I'm not overly worried about it.
I just feel like, it's time for him to take a break and stuff.
Because you're worried he might lose the election, or you're worried he's just not up to another 4 years in the Oval Office?
I don't feel like he's up to another 4 years.
That's debatable, if he's up to 4 years or not. I think we'll just have to wait and see.
That's quite a risk to take when you're talking about the President of the United States.
I'd rather take that risk than have Donald Trump in office again.
Joe Biden's coming back to the same Michigan high school he visited in the last election 4 years ago, when he seemed to say he would be a one-term president.
Look, I view myself as a bridge, not as anything else. There's an entire generation of leaders you saw stand behind me. We can do this, so get up, take it back. It's time, it's time.
And of course, it's time that is the problem. Arriving in Michigan this evening, Joe Biden is trying to show he does still have what it takes. There have been more Democrats today calling for Joe Biden to step aside. It's a constant stream, but that may not be what matters most. There is a tiny number of people that Mr. Biden might actually listen to, and they've been sending some subtle but distinct signals today. There's James Clyburn, very influential congressman. He said on TV, "I'm riding with Biden in whatever direction he goes." In other words, he would quite like him to go in a different direction. And there's Hakeem Jeffries, leader of the Democrats in the House of Representatives. He released a letter about his members' views that said nothing at all about Joe Biden having their support. And if it's reached a point where Joe Biden's very closest allies are starting to desert him, he may need to rethink his determination to stay in this race.